So this example is similar to a previous example that we are looking at. The difference is that when we are reading the rating of the movie from the council, we are using council.read instead of read line. And there's a big difference when you are using council.read. Council.read is designed to read a single character. And you can use it in a loop to process a string if you want to read, one value at a time. In this case, we are reading in the rating from the movie. And the weird thing about council.read is it's reading in that character that we type, but it's actually storing it as an integer. And so in order to actually see the character that we type, we have to convert the value into a character. And you can use char.parse. Typically, convert.toCharacter is used. That's how I've seen it done most often. But either way, you have to convert it to a single character, and then you can store what they've actually typed. The problem with council.read is that it only reads in one character, and everything that you type at the keyboard when you're entering data is in the input queue. So if you type a single character and press enter, that enter mark, which is a carriage return, is in the input queue. And if you're going to enter additional data, that is a problem because that enter mark is going to stay in the queue. And when we try to, read in the number of tickets, it's going to bypass that, and it's actually going to give you an error. So to prevent that, if you are using council.read, you have to use council.readline or use council.read a second time right after it. Okay, and then you can continue entering your data. So I am going to show you how this works, because seeing is believing. And I'm just going to create a little project here to test. Okay, so it's a council app, C# council. And let's go to the next screen. So I'm going to call this a test code. And I'm just going to save it directly into my repository. And so I'm going to click next. I'm going to keep do not use top level statements turned on and hit create. Then I'm going to highlight the default code and paste in the code that I copied. Now remember, this little squiggly line is showing because it is possible that they just press enter and don't actually key in a movie name. So if you want to get rid of the squiggle, you make this nullable by putting a question mark after the string data type. All right, so let's run this. I'm going to comment out read line. So now that enter mark is going to stay in the queue. So when I run this, it is going to give me an error. It's not going to be right away though, because I actually have to enter the rating, type the rating, press enter before I get the error. So here we go. And I think that one's R. And boom, I have the error. Okay, and it's saying that the input string isn't in the correct format because it's expecting a number and it got a special character. It got an enter mark instead. Okay, so I'm going to stop this. And then to correct that, we just get rid of that enter mark. And now everything will work. Oops. As long as I type it right, because you guys have not learned how to check to make sure that what they're entering is correct. We will learn that later on.